Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. Going to be talking about every movie and show I watched last week. Let's get right into it, starting it off with my one season of television that I watched, which was WWE Unreal, or as I like to call it, WWE Untold. Because for some reason, I kept telling Mel this week I wanted to watch Untold, and she meant Unreal, and I'm like, no, it's Untold, and yeah, anyways. This is a pretty sweet behind-the-scenes look at WWE, and I really enjoy it. Some people don't enjoy seeing the behind-the-scenes, but I personally do. Mel got to learn a lot as well. There's a lot of stuff she didn't know about. Just in like the wrestling world, like general wrestling knowledge, which she didn't know about either. So that was kind of cool to get her to learn some of that as well. And yeah, overall this is a pretty great show and I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more of it. Let's get into the movies. Starting it off with my least favorite watch of the week, which was Cyborg. I ranked this a 14 out of 100. Didn't enjoy it. Didn't enjoy it at all, even though it had like an 83-minute runtime. It sucked for pretty much every minute of it. So, yeah, 14 out of 100. Let's move on to the newest movie on this list, or the newest movie of the year, I think, basically, which I think came out on Friday over the weekend, which is War of the Worlds, which, I mean, to be honest, I don't think this movie is good by any means, obviously. I ranked it a 22 out of 100. For a big portion of this movie, I was like, wow, this is going to be easily like bottom of the list for 2025. It kind of changed some things up a little bit, and there was a few things that I almost enjoyed, so that was kind of nice, I guess, and I ended up ranking it a little bit higher than I thought I was going to. It's still, I think, bottom 2 of the year, in my opinion, but it's not as bad as The Monkeys, so that's a win. Let's move on to one of the themes of the week, which is the Naked Gun franchise. Let's start it off with my least favorite of the quadrilogy, which is The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear. Definitely some funny moments in this one, but I just didn't really enjoy it as much as the other three, and this was it's a pretty big gap between my number 4 in the ranking to my number 3. So yeah, 62 out of 100. Like I said, still enjoyable. Definitely some decent comedy in it. But we'll talk more about the Naked Guns here soon. Well, let's move on to Yesterday, which I ranked as 64 out of 100. Quite a weird movie, to be honest, especially because I feel like there's no resolution at the end of this movie. You would think that, everything would be fine. He'd wake up or whatever, and the Beatles are still a thing, but no. Just thought it was weird. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. Good music, obviously. 64 out of 100. Let's move on to Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. One of my themes of the week, I guess, yeah, you could say. One of my themes of yesterday, I should say, was going through Park Chan-wook's filmography, because that is one of my goals for the year, and this is a trilogy. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance, and Old Boy are a trilogy together, which I really watched in a wacky order, which, to be fair, I didn't even really know it was a trilogy until a little bit more recently, until after I'd watched Old Boy. But yeah, at some point in the future, I'll have to watch the entire trilogy in order. But anyways, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, I ranked it a 68 out of 100. It was just the least interesting of the three. And ultimately, I still thought it was decent. I still think it's decent. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of was my least favorite of the trilogy. So yeah, so what can you do? 68 out of 100. Let's move on to Lady Vengeance, which I ranked a 74 out of 100, so a bit of a jump compared to Mr. Vengeance, or Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. But yeah, this was a pretty good one, actually. This was not as good of a twist as Old Boy, of course, but it's still a pretty decent twist. And man, there's a really gruesome scene in this movie, a really depressing and disgusting scene in this movie. And ultimately, yeah, this was a good movie, and all of this trilogy is something I would like to rewatch, including Old Boy, so I think that's probably something I'll do maybe next year, because I do want to rewatch each one of these movies. Anyways, Lady Vengeance, 74 out of 100. Let's move on to Adaptation, which was the last of Spike Jonze's filmography I wanted to go through, which I almost finished it on Sunday last week. I just didn't quite get a chance, so I ended up ranking it on Monday, obviously, from a week ago. So, yeah, overall, a good movie, ranked at 75 out of 100. I feel like this is a pretty... There's a lot of depth in this movie that could be unpacked with more rewatches, or another rewatch, or sorry, a rewatch at least, because this is my first time seeing it, and it would be nice to give this another shot as well. Kind of similarly to the Old Boy trilogy, I think there's lots to unpack here that you could probably see a rewatch. Maybe you enjoy it more on a rewatch. So, yeah. Anyway, 75 out of 100. Actually, my second favorite Spike Jonze film, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, 75 out of 100. Let's move on to The Naked Gun, which is the newest, which I ranked it at 75 out of 100. I really enjoyed this movie. It was really fun to laugh in a theater with other people. Sometimes I was laughing and no one else was laughing, though, so I don't know what that says about me. Spoiler alert, I guess. But the scene when Drebin is coming from behind the security cam footage security, and he falls down the stairs. I was hysterically laughing in the theater, and no one else was laughing, and I literally couldn't contain my laughter. It was crazy. But yeah, this was a pleasant surprise. Really enjoyed it, and again, we'll talk about it more once we get to the first one, which is right now The Naked Gun from the Police Files, from the Files of Police Squad. Which, seriously, all four of these movies were a pleasant surprise, because I really had no expectations for these movies. I typically don't like spoof movies, but I really enjoyed this franchise a lot more than I thought I was going to, which is a major W, to be honest. Yeah, it just really surprised me. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this franchise, and yeah, each one of these movies had me laughing, and there were moments in this movie that really had me laughing, and moments in the newest one that really had me laughing as well. So that's that's all that you can really ask for from a comedy. So I'm glad I was able to get that experience. Ranked the first one a 76 out of 100. Let's move on to Beverly Hills Ninja, yet another comedy from the last century, which I also really enjoyed. Ranked it a 77 out of 100, had me laughing a lot, and ultimately just a fun movie that I quite enjoyed. Chris Farley is awesome in this as well, and I just really enjoyed this movie. Ranked it a 77 out of 100. One of the most fun watches of recent memory as well. And then let's move on to my favorite of the Naked Gun franchise, which may be a hot take. It is the third one, or Naked Gun 33 and a third, The Final Insult. The opening scene, which is the callback to The Untouchables, was really funny, kind of had me giggling, and then I'll read my review because genuinely I was cackling to the entirety of the bits in prison and the Oscars, which is the entire first act and the entire third act. So I really enjoyed those. Those kind of had me in shambles because of how much I was laughing. It was really surprising to me. And yeah, really enjoyed both of those bits, and really enjoyed, like I said, really enjoyed this franchise, and it was a pleasant surprise. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to, which I'm very happy about. So 78 out of 100. Let's move on to one of the biggest movies ever, which is Apocalypse Now, ranking it an 88 out of 100. I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. This is something one of my coworkers has been recommending to me for like the past year now, ever since he started working with me, and this is one of his favorite movies of all time. It's in his like top 5, and he asked if it made my top 10, and it didn't make my top 10. And I feel like I might have disappointed him a little bit that it didn't make my top 10. I did watch the theatrical release, which I don't know if that's the best one to watch. You know, there's like 3 different versions of this movie, but yeah, ultimately a pretty thrilling, disgusting depiction of war, and yeah, it's pretty haunting as well, truthfully, if you think about it. Like, especially some of the imagery that we get throughout this movie, it's really some of the grossest stuff you've ever seen from a war film. And yeah, it's quite surprising, especially kind of looking back on it now, thinking about it. Some of that imagery is just kind of implemented into your brain, just kind of stuck in your brain, I think, for a little while after watching this. And yeah, I don't think this is something I would rewatch often, but I would like to watch the other two versions of it at some point. Maybe I will. Who knows? Anyways, ranked at a 79 out of, or, no, sorry, I was looking at the year it came out, 1979. Sorry, I ranked it an 88 out of 100. It's still really great. And let's move on to my two favorite watches of the week. Both Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, both at a 100 out of 100. I am back in my Spider-Man era. I finally finished playing Miles Morales, so I'm like, fuck it. I'm in a Spider-Man mood. It was National Spider-Man Day on August 1st, which was also mine and Mel's anniversary. While she was at work, I got to watch these two movies. Absolute peak. And yeah, I started playing Spider-Man 2, and I'm already 60% of the way through. So I could have watched a hell of a lot more movies this week if I wanted to, but I wanted to play Spider-Man 2, so I've been doing that. Yeah, like I said, I'm 60% of the way through right now. Venom just pulled up, and he's awesome, so that's kind of what's been consuming my time right now. And yeah, Into the Spider-Verse, welcome to the 10 Watch Club. I love you very much. You're the GOAT. But you're not as good as Across the Spider-Verse. Truthfully, every time I watch this movie, I just want to rewatch it because it's literally the best thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life. It's insane how much I love this movie and how amazing I think this movie is. I truthfully, like, out of every movie that I ranked a 100 out of 100 over the past, like, 4 years of ranking things, I think there's, like, a total of 21 or so movies that I've ranked at a 100 out of 100 at one point or another. I would put them all down to a fucking 99 and just have this one at 100 out of 100 if I really had to prove my point, because this movie it quite simply is just the best thing I've ever seen in my life, and I can't get over it. I just want to rewatch it over and over and over again. I've been thinking about it all year, both of these movies, because I haven't watched them this year, and I've been trying to branch out, watch different things, but I literally just want to watch this movie every fucking week, man. Oh, it's so bad. I love this movie. I can't believe ever since this movie came out, and ever since I played the first Spider-Man game, I've turned into such a Spider-Man freak, which I was not like that. Didn't even really love most of the Spider-Man movies, except for the Spider-Verse movies. And yeah, so much has changed now. I just love Spider-Man so much now. It's crazy. It's all because of this. It's all because of this guy. Anyways, thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Also, follow me on Letterboxd, please. Please follow me on Letterboxd. I'm at like 38 followers, I think. I meant to say this at the start of the video, but yeah, follow me on Letterboxd.